What's up? Welcome into your Buckeye Rush Hour for a Wednesday, the old hump day rush hour, August 2nd, 2023. How's everybody doing out there? Good to see you. You look lovely this evening. Okay, so judging by today's title, you probably get the gist. We're talking conference realignment, blowing up the Pac-12, implosion, explosion, whatever you want to call it. It's going away. They're going away. And we're talking Big Ten expansion because some of them are coming to the Big Ten. So first, though, I wanted to touch on a couple recruiting related things just to get you guys up to date. I put out a poll yesterday on YouTube. So if you're subscribed to this channel, which you probably should be, go ahead and double check and make sure you're subscribed for me. And then hit that like button while you're at it. For this video. But so I put out a poll, and I post a lot of stuff here on YouTube. I like to give you a one-stop shop if you don't do a lot of other social media, accounts and Twitter, whatever Twitter is now, just an X. The hell does that mean, Elon? It's just an X. Anyway, I re-X'd a post yesterday. Anyway, so I post a lot here on the YouTube channel, so check that out. It's under the community tab. You can click the join button. You get a lot of recruiting stuff in there. I've got a lot more 2024 commit highlight videos coming this week, so stay tuned for that. But anyways, the poll that I posted yesterday here on YouTube received 104 reactions. Okay, so out of over 100 votes, the question was, who is the best recruiter currently on the Ohio State defensive staff? So who on the defensive side of the ball is the best recruiter? So over 100 votes, Tim Walton received 36% and Coach Johnson received 64%. I thought that was interesting. I honestly thought Coach Johnson would get a much greater percentage. Like I was thinking over 80%. So a little surprise there. So Tim Walton probably not getting much credit because 3 of his 5 commits over the last 2 years are from the state of Ohio. So no credit for keeping guys in state anymore. So anyways, just wanted to point out that. I'll do some more polls, over the fall and into the season and stuff. And appreciate you guys interacting with those. We got Jeremiah McClellan, the wide receiver from St. Louis. He has locked in an announcement date of August 13th. So what is that? 11 days away from today. So a week and a half, something like that. And as we know, the defensive end, Dylan Stewart from the DMV, committed to the Cox the other day. So scratch him off your board. Still wild shit. Anyways, let me lay out this explosion of the Pac-12 here. A lot of this is coming from Pete Thamel article from the other day, and I've got some updates from Yahoo. Yeah, Yahoo Sports is still around. Who knew? Haven't heard from those douchebags in a long time. Not a big fan of Dan Wetzel, or what's her name? Is Rohrbeck. Is she a reporter for Yahoo now? Anyway, she was all up under Kevin Warren's desk. We know that back during COVID. Anyway, so let's get you up to speed here. I'm taking too many sidetracks. So the Big Ten commissioner has been quietly doing some background work, trying to work on Oregon and Washington, getting them into the fold, into the Big Ten. They desperately want out of the Pac-12, obviously. Who wouldn't? Especially now that Colorado kind of started this avalanche, no pun intended, mountains, avalanche. Next. And the thing is, see, the Big Ten, they are some shrewd ass businessmen, always have been. And even going back to what's his name, Jim Delaney. So they're just taking this wait and see approach to see when the Pac-12 crumbles, because then they can get Oregon and Washington at a prorated percentage. So they can get these guys to come into the Big Ten at a discount, not even taking the full rate their first year in. So, but the Big Ten wants to have a fourth TV deal, a fourth media outlet. So like an ESPN possibly, because going forward we're not on ESPN anymore. So if we add a fourth media outlet, it would probably be ESPN, but not a streaming service. So if we bring in Oregon, Washington, maybe a fourth media outlet, to help pay for that. And Oregon and Washington right now will not sign anything long-term with the Pac-12. And long-term for the Pac-12 might be like 2 weeks, but it doesn't sound like the Big Ten has much interest in taking Cal and Stanford along with Oregon and Washington. So I thought that was interesting. And the Big Ten doesn't want to have that perceived predator, reputation where, they're poaching these schools, and they're taking more of that wait and see approach to see what Arizona State, and Utah do. So supposedly those three schools are all going to jump to the Big 12 together, or they're going to stay in the Pac-12. They're going to move as a group, basically. So interesting to see what they do. I think they had a meeting yesterday that was closed doors, and we don't know what came of that. There's supposed to be more meetings. Florida State moving over to the ACC now. They desperately want out of the ACC. They're the loudest of that group of seven. What do they call it? The Magnificent Seven or something. Florida State, Miami, Clemson, NC State, North Carolina, Virginia, and Vatech. That's the seven. Obviously, all of them would jump if the Big Ten offered, but the teams that in the ACC that went out for the 2024 season have to do so by August 15th. Then you're going to get your lawsuits starting from ESPN. Today, Florida State had a trustee meeting, and trustee Drew Weatherford said, quote, "It's not a matter of if we leave the ACC, but how and when we leave." Another trustee for Florida State said he calls for an exit plan out of the ACC in the next 12 months. So that means they would give notice to leave by August 15th of 24. Big Ten, let's see. There's another, legal aspect to this. The Big Ten and Oregon and Washington don't want to get sued by Oregon State and Washington State, switching back over to the West Coast. So there's that laying out there. The reason the foundation of their lawsuit would be because there's nowhere else for those two teams to go, Oregon State and Washington State. They are kind of coupled together with their in-state schools, so they feel that there would be nowhere else for them to go but the Mountain West, and those bastards, I don't even think they have a TV deal. So what else here? The Big Ten just reported a little while ago that the Big Ten has begun preliminary talks to add either 2 or 4, we'll see, at least Oregon and Washington, then maybe Cal and Stanford to get up to 20 teams. So you got a group of 4 Big Ten university presidents. They began the exploratory process about getting to 18 or 20. So it's going to move kind of quickly the way it seems. I'm kind of curious to see what happens here over the next couple of weeks. Once the season gets rolling, I don't think you'll see any movement, but the Big Ten really is trying to wait patiently and see what the Pac-12 schools do. And if it falls apart like it looks like it's going to, then they'll pounce. But yesterday, Pac-12 Commissioner George Kliavkoff presented their media rights deal finally. Their games would be all on Apple Plus, the subscription streaming service. Yeah. And their revenue estimates would be about 20 million per year per school. Ouch. To compare, Big Ten's getting about 90 mil per year per school. Big 12's getting 31, 32, something like that. So not a great package, Bob, George, whatever your name is. So, yeah. What do you guys think for the chat? Let me pop in there and see who's alive. Billy, the first one in. What's up, Billy? Howdy to you. So my question for you guys in the chat really is, do you go to 18 or do you just go straight to 20, you know, and how do you feel about having 6 West Coast teams in the Big Ten? That's quite the travel, you know. You're going to be like doubling your cross-country trips, right? Jeremiah, what's up? Jeremiah talking about Larry Johnson as a one-of-a-kind coach. He will have his crew ready to roll coming up in Bloomington in just a few weeks. I know he'll have his team ready to roll. I'm just concerned about recruiting right now. UW Huskies, what's up, man? Welcome into the show. You're welcome here anytime. We might be close personal friends very soon. UW Huskies says, can we join Big Ten now? Sure, pop in. Billy says, if you're nice, we'll think about it, LOL. Billy says, do you think you have to be paired with Oregon? UW Huskies says, not really. But as long as it means a move to the Big Ten, then cool. Billy says, I guess because you're just a couple 100 miles apart. UW Husky says, what about this rumor about Florida State and Clemson to the Big Ten? Yeah, that's going to be interesting. Billy says, I could see FSU, but Clemson seems much more an SEC school. Yeah, I don't have any attraction to any ACC schools joining the Big Ten. Miami, maybe just because it's a larger market. But I was doing a search earlier today. That reminds me, I'm going to go back and check on that. Alumni, let's go college living alumni. Who has the most living alumni in the country? One second. I forgot to have this ready to go. I was looking at this list earlier and it was saying things like, this was University Magazine is the source. And this is from January 30th, 2023. So this is the biggest alumni networks. So number one, I'll start at the bottom here. They do them in reverse order. So Penn State is number one in total living alumni at 673,000. That's surprising. Indiana, 650,000. University of the Toilet up north, 575,000. Michigan State, 552,000. UCLA, 500,000. Ohio State University, 500,000. Cal, University of California at Berkeley, about 500,000. Rutgers, you kidding me? University of New Jersey, 486,000. Texas, University of Texas at Austin, 482,000. And number 10 is Purdue, 479,000. That's kind of surprising. Anyway, so the reason I looked that up is because I wanted to know if there were any ACC teams even in the top 10, you know. I don't know why or where they would add any value to the conference. You know, let the SEC take those clowns. or they can go back to the Big East and restart that shit. Let's check on the chat here. Billy says UW gonna hate me, but I think Oregon and Washington should go to the Big 12. Arizona schools should join the Big 10. UW Husky says, you're right, I hate you. Billy says, I just think ASU might be a huge brand someday, has potential, but it's not. We got to go by what things are now. I mean, Arizona State's been around a long time. They haven't done shit, UW Husky says the Big 12 would be a nice landing spot, but prefer the Big 10. Billy makes a good point that you guys could potentially rule the Big 12. Yeah, baby. But UW Huskies makes a good point also that I would prefer better competition. Yeah. Jeremiah has a couple questions here. If the Big 10 does take in more schools, do we still remain the Big 10 or does this change? It's always going to be the Big 10. They'll stick with the numbers from now on. Same with the Big 12. They're going to stick with Big 12. Would we become the Big 18 or Big 20? Should remain Big 10 for the original 10 schools. Yeah, it'll always be the Big 10. They would have to change logos and stuff. You got to hire a new graphic designer to do that. And those guys are a bunch of assholes. Speaking from a graphic designer's point of view. So let's try Power 5 colleges with the most living alumni. You could look at value also. There was an article written last year about each Power 5 school's value. So that's like football attendance, all sports rankings, academic rankings, broadcast viewership, of course. So not surprising that the Buckeyes would be number one there. Where's the rest here? Okay, here we go. Buckeyes number 1, Michigan number 2, Notre Dame number 3, Texas 4, Georgia 5, Florida 6, Wisconsin 7. That's kind of surprising. Oklahoma 8, USC 9, Alabama 10, Penn State 11, Texas A&M 12, Auburn 13. Skimming down here. Washington comes in at 15. There you go, UW. 15th most desirable program in the country. You guys add some value. Let me see what it says. Academics, you're 24th. All sports, 27th. Attendance, 19th. Viewership is 16th. That's pretty good. Clemson is 16th. So I guess you're kind of right there with Washington. But Stanford, 17. Florida State is 19. All right. But then you got Oregon down here at 22. I would have thought Oregon would have been closer to Washington as far as the rankings go. But Miami's down here at 25. Again, ACC school that I have no interest in. NC State down there. Arizona State's 30th. NC State's 30th. Vatech 35th. I'm just looking for ACC schools right now. Cal's 45th. Again, no reason to take them. Duke is 50th. Yeah. Down there, I don't see much we're taking. That's a good one, Jeremiah. Keep Oder Lame out of the Big 10. I like that. Exactly. Always be big. Definitely. Kind of quiet for a Wednesday around here. We got 16 people in here. Usually we got like double that by this point, but yeah, I don't know. These ACC schools do nothing for me, and it sounds like they're going to get a hefty penalty when they try and leave. Florida State, Clemson, whoever. I don't know. I gotta take a drink of water. Yeah, I don't have an interest in the ACC teams. Yeah, I don't care how good Florida State is gonna be. Yeah, Billy, that's a good point. I know we'll take Notre Dame whenever they want to come, but I've lost interest in them. Yeah. Yeah, those guys could basically jump into any conference at any time, right? I mean, Drew says, I would love having Clemson make that rivalry official. I guess. I don't know. We got a rival. Do we need it? How many do we need? I thought we should have kept Penn State as a rivalry, right? I mean, you got Michigan. That's a must have, obviously. But Penn State seemed like a good rival. USC, you could rekindle that. Clemson just doesn't do anything for me. It's not a big school. That's why I was reading off the lists of alumni, and it's mostly Midwest teams and a couple California teams, So, yeah. I don't see an upside to taking an ACC team. They just want to join the Big Ten for the cash. It's all just a cash grab, It's fine. I get it. But I have no problem bringing in Washington and Oregon. Those are legit schools, and USC and UCLA need somebody to play against on the West Coast. I mean, just leaving them out there by themselves seems kind of silly. I think you got to have, somebody relatively close. I know that it's not a bus ride. Yeah, Drew, I hear you. For football, that's the only reason. I get you. And believe me, I love nothing more than beating the crap out of Dabo. But UW Husky says if the ACC was to fall, I can't see Notre Dame joining the SEC. They would probably join the Big Ten. Yeah, most likely. Most likely, if the ACC does crumble. But again, I don't know if that's going to happen. We don't know if the ACC is going anywhere. The Pac-12 definitely is the way it looks, but yeah. Billy asks, what about the Virginia schools? Largest fan and recruiting base, easy victories. Yeah, easy victories are nice, and the recruiting is good. But I think I just saw them. Saw them just. Vatek was up there. Vatek. Virginia is 32nd in this list of most valuable programs. And then Vatek is 35th. Football rank, Virginia's 48th, Vatek 41st. Then academics, Virginia's 9th. Obviously, they're good quality academic school. Vatek is 33rd. Attendance, Virginia's 51st. Vatek is 21st. So Vatek's get some fans in there. And then viewership, Virginia's 52nd. Vatek 49th. That seems surprising to me. If Vatek's 21st in attendance in game, but they're only 49th in viewership, that's crazy. So people just go to the games, but they don't want to play, or they don't want to put on the game at home. They go to the games for the tailgating probably and the co-eds, but not going to watch the game on Saturday apparently. So Yeah, I understand. Virginia brings in DC as well. Drew brings up a good point, says, Jeremiah, sorry, I missed that. He says Ohio State knocked the crap out of Clemson last time those two schools played in the playoff. Yes, they did. Yep, that was aggressive Ryan Day. And it worked. And you had a great quarterback. Drew says, no more easy victories. I want college football to get where the majority of weeks are big boy games. Yeah, you're going to start cleaning out the Big Ten, like the bottom half. Virginia would bring DC. Yep. UW Huskies. I saw that OSU versus Clemson game 2. Great game for the Buckeyes. Yep. That was a good one. Yeah, I understand recruiting bases. You want to kind of target those areas like the DMV, for example, Florida, I know, but we do pretty damn well in Florida without even playing a team down there, you know. And we do, well, we used to do okay in the DMV. Maybe not so much lately, but see Dylan Stewart's commitment. But yeah, we used to do a lot better in the DMV. Like Jalen Holmes, he was from Virginia, I think. That Virginia Beach area has some quality talent. Yeah. How's that Seattle area? UW Huskies, how's the Seattle recruiting? I know we got JT Tuamoloau and Emeka Egbuka from up there and G. Scott Jr. Those guys are definitely high-end quality talents, but what's the high school recruiting like? Where do most kids go? Do they go south, like down to UCLA, USC? They go to Utah? Where do all these Oregon and Washington kids end up playing? Or do they stay home? I'm kind of curious. Seems like, you know, you got a couple good programs up there, but eventually there's just not enough spots, you know. Seems like the kids that aren't staying home have to go somewhere, right? They got to go, you know, maybe they stay in the Pac-12 footprint, you know. But yeah, I'm kind of curious how that recruiting area is. Obviously, we did well recruiting that region before any of this Big Ten expansion talk started, so I'm not sure it's a necessity for us. Yeah, Arizona has pretty good recruiting, Billy. I can name off, I mean, Devin Brown's from there. Bijan Robinson, Lathan Ransom is from there. Who else? Well, Dylan Raiola, allegedly, after one of his stops was Arizona. So yeah, they have some good quality, high-end high school football there. You know, Chaparral, Chandler, Scottsdale area, all those around Phoenix and stuff too. So Drew says, I like Washington and Oregon coming, but Stanford and Cal, come on now. I know, that's what I'm saying, man. Stanford and Cal don't add anything for me. UW Huskies says about their recruiting that mainly they stay on the West Coast from his area. Yeah, Miles Lockhart, thank you, Drew. Almost slipped my mind. Billy says Stanford and Cal would be for the academic research profile, certainly not for football reasons. Exactly. You know, Stanford at one time, you know, back when Harbaugh was there and then handed the program off to David Shaw, they were solid. I mean, 8-4 team, you know, in a bowl game every year, but Shaw really let that program slip over the last few years. Cal, they haven't been good since Jeff Tedford left, you know. Yeah, I agree. UW Huskies, when Harbaugh was there, it was good, you know, and into the David Shaw program, they were still really good for 5 years or more. But last few, I don't know what happened there, you know. But yeah, we'll see what happens. I'm going to jump out of here, and if you guys could please make sure you subscribe, hit the like button. Billy out the door says they won the PAC within the last 10 years. UW Husky says David Shaw drove Stanford into the ground. Yeah, he did. But all right, folks, that's the latest. If anything else happens, we'll talk about it on Friday probably, but make sure you're locked in here, and we'll have our daily blitz. I released Ryan Day press conference from today and interviews with Devin Brown, Kyle McCord, and Tristan Gebbia. They all spoke to the media. So obviously most of that talk was about the quarterback competition. So check it out. Hit the like button on those too. I'd appreciate that. And again, make sure you subscribe. UW Huskies, you might want to subscribe to this channel. We're going to be talking a lot of realignment, and it looks like it's going to be happening soon. So appreciate you guys. Talk to you later. Have a good one. Peace. Go Bucks.